Hey y'all, I know I've been back. Oh, I just hit my arm. I know I've been gone for a long time. I'm planning to come back again here from my break. I was taking a break from YouTube, but I want to just get right into the topic, y'all. I want to talk to y'all about the chip technology and the Mark of the Beast system. First, I'm going to show y'all this video. So you could kind of get into the topic and what we're talking about, and then I'm going to tell you some personal accounts as far as someone that works in banking and what they're rolling out. Because remember, like I told y'all, I do work in the banking industry. I can't reveal where I work, particularly what kind of jobs that I do, but I am in those board meetings, so I want to let y'all know some of the inside story, some of the scoop of the inside of what they're planning to do, and some of the shady practices that go on with the banking industry as well. So check this video out.
I can't believe you just paid with his hand. Like, you just literally put your hand up and you're good to go. Like, that's crazy. Hi, my name is Charlie Warzel. I'm a senior writer with BuzzFeed News, and in order to see what the future of money looks like, I decided to live for a month just paying for things with my phone. And somewhere along the line, I ended up getting a microchip implanted inside my hand to see if I could be the first person in the world to pay for something out in the real world using just their hand. I basically wanted to try to download as many apps onto my phone as possible, and make sure that I could use alternative currencies and try to skirt cash or credit cards any way possible.
Using your phone as a payment method, we call that a proximity mobile payment. And we estimate that by the end of 2016, U.S. adults will spend $27 billion using their phone at the point of sale. But you look at that in the context in card volumes, I mean, that's a pretty small drop in the bucket.
Hey, do you guys accept Apple Pay or any like the card reader things for your phone? You can't buy anything here, right? No. Okay. NFC chip in your hand.
So take a deep breath for me and exhale.
And so I figured if I could put it in my hand, maybe I'd be able to pay for something with my hand.
That was it. Breathe.
Yeah.
Keep breathing.
How's it feel? It's like pinchy. It definitely hurt like way more than they said it was going to. It looks sort of like a grain of rice or like a pill that's in my hand.
I think the idea of using a microchip implant in one's hand to be able to make a payment, I do.
Eventually I stumbled across a Venmo engineer who said that he could help me with my task. What they decided is that they would put my Venmo unique user ID onto my chip, which would basically make it so that any phone would recognize my hand as a Venmo app.
I'm going to write your secret token for Venmo.
So y'all saw that here. So these tech geeks of the world, when I tell you these people will be some of the first people to accept the Mark of the Beast, it's not even a joke. This guy has went as far as to sync this technology to his Venmo account so that any phone would recognize his hand, just taking it way too far. I've already heard things about using it to unlock doors like your car, your house, things like this. The Mark of the Beast, like I was saying, how they did back in the day when they tried to get smoking to be a very common thing. Look where we are now. People are addicted to smoking. One of the biggest things the tobacco industry tried to do was they tried to fetishize smoking to women. And they slowly did that with commercials by showing very handsome men smoking or housewives smoking. And they did it slowly, but it has a very long and damaging effect. And that's the same thing that you're doing with the Mark of the Beast. They want to slowly introduce it using the phrases as small as a grain of rice, or they try to implement these phrases, to try to, pull our memories basically with these ideas, and basically they're trying to cause propaganda. So when it's time to fully accept the mark of the beast, or you don't receive health care, you can't get into your home or your car. So when those things happen, people are not going to be shocked. They're not going to be surprised. They already are introduced to the technology. So all they have to do is basically ship it out to the masses. So let's talk about some of the things that I know personally from the inside. Okay, like I said, I work in the banking industry. Currently at my state and the state that I am in my work, I'm not being forced at this time to accept any type of technology to get into my workplace, because there is security in my workplace. Sorry, there was something on my screen here, or my keyboard. Excuse me. But I'm sure if I was to work in that industry long enough, that part would be becoming very soon. And I'm not going to work in that industry for too long, because I recognize the darkness surrounded with those type of industries. And honestly, the people behind the scenes and the people in front of it are so dark and demonic. It makes you lose hope in humanity. That's just a side note, but let's stay on topic. So when I came in for training, one of the first stories that I was told by one of the trainers that works in this banking industry is about how a bunch of Christians called in. Yeah, Christians people called in when they were introducing the chip technology in the credit cards. And he's told his joke in such a way that like almost like he was making fun of them, and he was extremely sarcastic about it, and kind of condescending towards the belief of Christians not wanting to accept that chip technology in their credit cards, because previously the credit cards didn't have a chip. So what you would just do is just swipe it. For some of the millennials, they probably, or the new, people keep telling me I'm a part of the millennials, but some young kids, they'd probably never lived in an age where credit cards didn't have chips. You see very young people with credit cards nowadays. So he brought up this story about a bunch of Christians calling into the bank stating that they didn't want the chip in their card. And behind the scenes, this company was basically telling the employees to relate to the customers that this is not an option. You have no choice. It's either basically you close your account if you don't agree with their terms of service. You're gonna have to close your account. We don't want to basically hear your arguments, and we don't really respect your religious beliefs. Basically that was the narrative, that if these people want to complain about the chip in their card, they can just close their accounts because it's not avoidable. They basically have different type of credit cards that are made from different materials in that particular bank. With some of the cards, you can get images on it, patterns and cartoon characters. Some of them are made from plastic and metal. Some of the fancier cards are made with metal. The only option they basically give those certain type of fancier cards, which you're not able to change the image on because it has to stay with that product line and that image of the metal type cards, they tell these people that you can request your card to be plastic, but other than that, you can't make any other changes. They're gonna have to basically stay with the chip. And they're taking this technology so far. Again, they gave them no choice. And this trainer basically laughed at the Christians and some of the stupid people in the classroom. The ones that don't know discernment, and they have no knowledge of the Bible. I find it really hilarious and ironic how Missouri, the state that I'm in right now, which has a lot of issues with racism, and a lot of some people are just very ignorant here, okay? And I found it funny how people always say this is the Bible Belt. It's the Bible Belt. It has Christian roots. But what I find about these people here is that they're not actually Christians. And when I say that, I mean that they have a very religious spirit, as in they don't actually believe in God. Like, they're not actually following God as a servant. When I say that, I mean it's almost like traditional. Everything is done in tradition. Their father's father was a Christian, their father's father was a Christian, so they go to church on Sundays, but smoke like a horse, drink like an sailor, and or curse like a sailor, and they do and live their life however they please, with no regard to God. But they have God in their mouth, but not in their conscience or how they live their lives. And when someone like me, like, I would say I'm not the best Christian, and I have a tremendous amount of work to do, and God knows that, because you can't hide from God. I'm not going to come on here and act like I'm perfect. I am not doing well currently, and I need to do better. But what I find interesting is that whenever I speak about God and how things that I want to do in very short bursts, because I don't really speak to people at my job, because they're very sensitive, and some of them are very new age, and anything about God offends them. And there are other Christians that say that they're so-called Christians but are very extremely lukewarm, not even a little bit lukewarm. Those types, they basically conceive my notion of getting right with God to be an extreme way. Like, for example, if I say, I'm not reading enough my Bible, I need to read more of my Bible, and I want to fast more and sacrifice more, they find that to be extreme. And I'm usually met with a reaction like, well, God knows, live your life how you want, and you just don't take it too serious. This is their attitude. But it's so-called the Bible Belt. At the same time, I can't take these people seriously as Christians, and I'm talking about a lot of them as a whole, the younger generations and the older ones, because at the same time they have weird, strange buildings here as well. There was a building, actually there's multiple of them. I've seen at least 4 different Masonic buildings in Missouri. There are different, and I'm going to show you guys a video. I'm going to try to put it together maybe this week, about an experience that I had across from a Masonic building. And I was basically in a record store, like a music store, and there was a building across the street was like a Masonic type of hotel. And I believe the building was used as a temple previously, and the hotel bought it out. But at the same time, why did you keep Masonic temple? Why did you keep that name on the building if you bought it out? I'm thinking you did that purposely, because it could have been covered with a poster, or it could have been etched out of the rock, but you kept that there. It says Masonic temple. You kept it there for a reason. Maybe it's a facade of a hotel. Maybe there are things going on behind the scenes. I would never stay at that hotel. Never, because I know what spiritually those type of things mean for you, and that you can endanger yourself, especially if you're not right with God, to be visiting these places and allowing those dark entities into your spirit by entering those portals. These places on earth are like portals. So I'm going to share that in another video. But I find it strange that you have multiple Masonic buildings in this so-called Bible Belt. This place is not a Bible Belt. It's just fake Christians, fake religious people. When I say religious spirit as in ritualistic, they do things in a ritualistic way. They sing with their mouths about God, but their hearts are far from Him. They talk about God, but their hearts are far from Him. They don't possess God in their actual thinking, their life, their lifestyle, because you can see it in their fruits. A lot of ignorance. Recently there was a man that entered and Walmart over here, and I'm not talking about the previous situation with Walmart where that man shot up a bunch of black people, and he also, I believe, killed 3 white people as well. So that man was a freaking crazy. I didn't mean to cuss, shouldn't say that word, but he was crazy. He's demon possessed. Okay, that guy was ignorant and demon possessed and crazy, and he purposely wanted to kill a lot of black people. I don't know if some of the white people as well got hit in the crossfire of his tirade. That definitely could have been a possibility, but I believe they said he killed 8 black people or 6. I couldn't even look at it. It was so horrible to just take people's lives in this way, as if you are God. You have no right to take a life, you know? So after this mass shooting, days later, and this is recently, a man showed up in Walmart and he was in full armor. Let me just show this to y'all. Let me show you this instead of just talking about it. Sorry about the creaking noise, y'all. Okay, this is the man here. And this happened very recently, y'all. Okay, so this man here showed up in Walmart in full armor. Young kid, right? Very young kid. I have no idea why they're trying to get me to sign in here. Okay, sorry here. Let me see if I can find it again. He shows up in Walmart in full-on body armor, and the people started to panic there because I guess, you know, everybody heard about the mass shooting at the other Walmart, so these people thought that they were in danger. So this is the man here, and again, when they questioned him, police questioned him, he said that it was his right, basically, like his right as an American to bear full arms. I think that was the law that he was talking about. And a coworker of mine said after doing some investigation, when they went into his home, this is why I say a lot of racist people are of the devil, and because they have a lot of ignorance because they're demonically possessed. Because how could you be a believing Christian and then be racist and ignorant? It just isn't. It doesn't mesh with God. It doesn't go with God. Ignorance is of the devil. Hatred is a part of racism. And if you have a hatred for other races just because of their skin color, nationality, and how, you know, culturally, how they are culturally, you are not of God, because hatred is not of God. God is pure love. Okay, so, and this is why I say it's of the devil. After doing an investigation, when they went into his place, his apartment, in his home, there was letters, multiple letters that he wrote to Satan. Yes, let me repeat it. He wrote multiple letters to Satan in his home. Insane. He's clearly insane. Let's check this out. I didn't mean to come off of the subject, but I just want to tell you how fake this like so-called title that these people have here as the Bible Belt. It's not a Bible Belt.
This country is on edge right now, so just consider this. Just days after those 2 mass shootings, a young man armed with a rifle and wearing body armor surrendered to police after he walked into a Missouri Walmart and just started pushing a cart. Customers obviously panicked. The store manager pulled the fire alarm. A witness described what happened next.
A real loud siren goes off for like a second, and then they say, suspected fire, possible fire, exit immediately. And there's an employee standing there, and I was like, looked at him like that, and he's like, I don't know. And this lady was screaming at us, she's like, get out now, get out, get out.
There were a lot of people hiding outside behind these barriers and businesses, and it was pretty chaotic for a couple minutes.
Omar Jimenez is following this one for us, and Omar, no shots fired. So who is this guy, and what was he doing?
Yeah, at this point, police have identified him as Dmitry Andreychenko. It's a 20-year-old. His background still unclear at this point, but you touched on the main piece of good news: no shots fired and no one injured in this. Now, what they are trying to piece together at this point in the investigation is what motivated him to do this. We know when he walked into this Walmart, according to police, he was filming himself on his cell phone. For what purpose, we still do not know. And then pushing a shopping cart through the store. And again, as you mentioned earlier, that was what prompted the manager to pull the fire alarm and for people to evacuate as quickly as possible. And in the process of all of that, this man tried to casually stroll out of the store where he was confronted by an off-duty firefighter who was also wielding a weapon and detained this man Andreychenko until police arrived just a few minutes later. But here's how police described their arrival to the scene, again just about 3 minutes later.
He walked in here heavily armed with body armor on, in military fatigues, and caused a great amount of panic inside the store. So he certainly had the capability and the potential to harm people. He was compliant with us, but his intent was not to cause peace or comfort to anybody that was in the business here. In fact, he's lucky he's alive still, to be honest.
And let's remember what he looked like when he came in. He was wearing that almost military-like style clothing. He was armed with that assault rifle as well. And it is important to note that Missouri is an open carry state, but it is illegal to carry a weapon with lethal capacity when it is being done in a threatening manner. And I think at least it is safe to say a lot of people here felt at least a little bit threatened as they evacuated this store on that front. And while we know the man's identity at this point, police say they hope to be able to release more information about him once charges are officially filed. But they told us they arrested him for making terrorist threats in the first degree, Brooke.
Okay. So y'all, just a little commentary. I find it very interesting that that he was filming on his cell phone. I find that to be very interesting. I believe if that manager actually did not... Confusion. Sorry there. I believe if the manager did not pull the fire alarm in there, that he would have actually went on a mass tirade and killing spree. And why I say that, he says that he has fully rights to bear arm. Cool. Missouri is a state where you can have weapons, and they're a little bit more open to having weapons. But what's with the body armor? Why did you come in there with body armor? Because he was prepared that if there was a retaliation by law enforcement, that he would be ready and that he could continue to go on this mass killing spree without harming himself in particular. I believe that, again, if the manager didn't pull the fire alarm, that he would have killed almost anybody in sight. You know, this case probably, who knows, it could also not be racially motivated, but now that Donald Trump has been in office, I've just seen a lot of outpouring of hatred, a lot of white supremacists. I believe if he was a black man doing this type of thing, that he would have been shot on sight, because the world deems being black as some type of a curse. I literally heard another Christian on YouTube saying that black people are black because they are cursed by God. Why would you try to put that negativity on God? You know, why would you try to act like you know the mind of God by saying that he made a particular group of people black because he cursed them? It's just completely ridiculous. And in the Bible, it talks about curses, how some curses are generational, but God is so merciful that if the father is cursed because God himself gives everyone opportunity to make their own impression on God and do good in the sight of God, that when a curse is placed upon someone, it can travel to generation, but with repentance, that a curse can be broken. And sometimes the curse doesn't even transfer to the next person, but God is very merciful, depending on if that person does good things in the sight of God. It talks about how this person, the Bible reiterates, he and his father did wicked things in the eyes of the Lord continually, but his son from generation to generation did great things and was righteous in the sight of God. So to call an entire group of people cursed just because of a skin color and not because of an actual act of disobedience, it's really, really disgusting that people will put those hatred type of feelings upon God when they don't even understand the mind of God to begin with. It's an actual slap in the face and an insult. Okay, and let's just continue. Again, I believe if the Lord didn't intervene and for the manager to see this man, that he would have killed everyone in that Walmart. It would have been a bloodbath in that Walmart. I didn't even mean to go on this subject, but again, I'm reiterating how some of these locations and some of these locations in the earth claim to be a godlike state, and some of them say they're Republicans, and some of them say they're Democrats, and then some of them say, oh, well, I'm a Republican or I'm a Democrat and I believe in God, and then they spew hatred out of their mouth. It just doesn't, God and hatred doesn't go together. It doesn't make sense, and it's not of God. But my whole point is, Missouri is not a Bible belt. It is not a Bible belt. A lot of these people are not Christians. They're just like in other regions where we have a lot of evangelicals in New York City, and they say they're Christians when they're not actual Christians. I've met many people in New York City, and it's no different. And it's not particularly because of race or because of the region. My whole point is that there is a lot of people in this world that claim God with their mouth, but they're not actually following him, if you understand what I'm saying. Religious people. I've known a guy in New York City, stop it kitty, a guy in New York City that his family was extremely religious, and they were Haitians. And Haitians, they have a particular way of how their family dynamic goes. They're kind of like very uptight in a sense, and they correlate it a lot with their religious belief. But some of them, like I said, just say they're Christians by mouth, but their hearts are far from God. So his mother was a Christian, his mother's mother was a Christian, but he was completely defiant of the Christian way. When I say this dude was like, he was like in a lot of fornication, I mean, you name it. He was just all over the place. And then you could tell the way he spoke about his family. He would say things in spitefully about his family, saying that he was going to do the opposite of what his mom told him because she told him to do it this way because it was the Haitian way and the Christian way. It was insane. And he literally told me that he was going to marry some woman outside of his race. No, I'm sorry, not his race, his culture. He wanted to marry like a woman that was from the Caribbean islands, not like out of his race. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that. Just spiting his mom. His mother told him that she wanted him to marry another Haitian woman. And in the Haitian culture, that's very common, that they would, just like in Asian cultures too, they will prefer if you stay with the person of your culture. And he told me that spitefully he was going to do this just because he hated the fact that his parents were super religious, and he would do things in the church, but musically, but just to make money, not because he wanted to do it. it would just literally be just a gig for him, because he would play the drums in churches, and he would travel from one church to the other church to play drums for the church bands. But it was like a hustle for him. It wasn't because that he loved God or he wanted to praise God with his fruit, the fruit that God gave him. Not because he wanted to praise God, because he wanted to make money, and he was being paid to do this. Again, another person claiming to be a Christian, but hearts are far from God. But anyway, I wanted to talk about this subject because sometimes I know that I'm a bit off key with a lot of things that you guys want to talk about. I know there was a few stories that went by that a lot of people were maybe sometimes email me and they say, hey, why don't you talk about this? Hey, I want to see your opinion on this. And sometimes I don't respond with the video, so I'm trying to like keep up to date with y'all. So let me go back to the subject about the reason I believe this is happening in this region, about the whole banking thing, because this place is not, like I said, it's not a Bible Belt. It's been taken over by demons. It's riddled with demons. Okay, that's why they're slowly introducing this mark of the beast technology. So in my workplace, they have these vending machines basically. So at these vending machines, you can normally use cash or your credit card just by swiping it, right? What they've told us is that, what they've told us that they're going to do is slowly move away from those type of machines. So what they're going to do is you're not going to be able to use cash in machines anymore. In a time, in a space, in an era, using cash in a vending machine was a convenient thing, because people used to have more cash on hand. Go, kitty. Stop it, kitty. Okay, so people used to have more cash on hand, but we're moving slowly into this new age, new world order, where the banking system is trying to make having cash or using cash an uncomfortable and agonizing experience, and that is done spitefully. Okay, that is what I'm hearing, basically whispers about this, because they want people to feel uncomfortable with cash, because they want to slowly come away from it, not just as a business practice to improve their business or have easier access to food or snacks for employees, but they want to do this worldwide. Okay, so what they're doing is slowly moving out certain machines out of the workplace, and the regular machines that used to just take a credit card swipe, they're being upgraded with things like Apple Pay and Samsung Pay, basically like an electronic payment. So you're at this point, you're not using your phone to make the purchase. I'm sorry, your card to make the purchase. So you're not using your card. You're pointing your phone at the machine and it's taking the order. So that's what they're doing. So not only is it an upgrade from cash to credit card, but then it's going to be digital payments. Okay, you're not going to actually use cards anymore. So that's what they're slowly moving away from. So right now they're moving these vending machines out of the workplace slowly, because they're wanting people to slowly transition into this. Okay, and they're going to use certain language to make you seem like they're trying to enhance your experience with these machines. It's crap. It's basically crap. How about this? Why bring the machine's technology to accept like the phone payment or the credit card payment? What if you had like a separate section where you had a coin, where you would put your money in or use your card in the machine, and you could request a certain amount in the coin, and if you have like a leftover amount of the coin, or like a ticket or a voucher to make your purchase, you would use that. Why didn't they introduce something like that? Because they feel like that technology is obsolete, because they don't want you to have things to carry around. And then you have stupid people in this world, very naive people that are tech giants and geeks, basically geeks, You know, these type of geeks that live their life behind their phone or computer and have no social life. These type of people are very happy about this technology because they deem it as, forwarding mankind into some type of technology evolution. If these people could turn into robots and have a half human, half cyborg body, just like the cheesy films they watch on TV, which are influenced by demonic powers anyway, if these people could actually become half human, half cyborg, they would actually do it. So they're using these ridiculous people who are basically geeking out with technology to influence the masses, trying to get, send them products on YouTube to review these ridiculous forms of technology that are basically unnecessary and useless, but they're going to tell you that, hey, this is going to be useful, you should have this, you need this in your collection. They're going to do that. They're going to try to trick you to buy these foolish, stupid things that you don't actually need. And Apple and Samsung are no better. They are some of the largest tech giants in the world. And they're trying to make people fat and lazy. What they're trying to do is make it everything so easy and just so accessible to every single person that they will literally have to do nothing in life. That's why we're living in a generation where people or young people are extreme lazy. They're extremely lazy. I was having a conversation at work once when we all came out of a meeting about startup jobs. When I say startup jobs, I mean like the first couple jobs that you have as a kid, and like things that you do to basically improve your resume. So a lot of the young people chimed into the conversation, and a bunch of them would say things like, why would anyone want to stand on their feet for 8 hours of the day? Are you serious, man? Are you serious? Are you that lazy that you can't stand for 8 hours, even with an hour break and some 15-minute breaks in between? Are you serious? Because those are the type of jobs that people did. Those are jobs that your parents did. Worked in fast food, worked that hard job where you had to be on your feet. But these kids don't even know what hard work is. God talks about hard work in the Bible. He talks about how people have to reap and sow. I'm pretty sure God thinks that, a lazy person is a shameful person. Here's a Bible scripture that I know I keep saying this. There's a scripture in the Bible that says, a man that doesn't work does not eat. It is in the Bible. It's funny. I knew someone that when I said that scripture, they were like, that's not in the Bible, but it actually is. It says, a man that does not work does not eat. I'm going to find that while I'm talking. But basically, these young people chimed into the conversation. They were saying things like, well, I wouldn't want to work that job. I don't want to do that. And then this conversation came about because I brought up that I saw a video on YouTube of this young girl, and she talked about, I think it was titled like her first job, and it was at McDonald's. And the young girl, all she did was make a complaining video. She just complained the entire time. I think the video was like 10 minutes long, and from start to finish it was just about stupid, foolish things that she was complaining about her first job. Like, are you serious? Are you serious? So the video got so much negative response from, I guess, older people that she literally removed the comments. Like she deactivated all the comments, and it had massive amount of thumbs down because you're just complaining. You know how many jobs I had as a young person starting up? I had to be on my feet, working hard, moving, And then one of the young people that chimed in the conversation, she brought up this store. I think it was Aldi's. And she was bringing up the fact that Aldi's let their employees sit in a chair while they packed out groceries. And I was just like, wow, I'm really surprised, because I've always done like those type of jobs as a startup, like as a young kid, and they never allowed me to sit. And the girl was just like, she was just like, well, no one can really stand for that long. It's just crazy. It's crazy that people are this lazy. That's why you see more and more young people on YouTube. YouTube is becoming like the lazy man's way of making income, because, and I'm not discrediting any YouTuber that actually works hard to put out their content and edit videos and find content. I'm not talking about those people. But you do become a part of the conversation when that is your content and you're doing outrageous things for attention. So even if you're putting hard work into your channel, but you're doing things that are basically undermine your integrity, or will do things that are extremely sexual or dark just for a click, a view, a dollar, you know, you do become a part of that conversation, not just the young people. But I see a lot of young people on YouTube that will come on YouTube and make these non-structured type videos that will just, they'll literally have so much followers, and they'll do ridiculous challenges, like extremely unoriginal things, and they'll talk about how they're trying to hit it big on YouTube and trying to make income on YouTube. Like, it's not a passion for them. This is something that they're trying to do to avoid working at a 9-to-5. And I know that not everybody in this world is put on this earth to have a 9-to-5, but you have to understand, some of these people are successful at this. Some of these people are doing well. Some of these children are moving out of their parents' homes, and they have huge apartments, lots of cars. What is the issue with that? Great, you're successful. But a lot of these children, they lose that struggle to get a job, and they lose that part of life where they had to learn how to work hard for something. They don't get that part. They don't know what it's like to stand on your feet for 8 hours a day, like their parents and their parents' did for work. The only, you know, and not appreciating the fact that their parents did these jobs, and that it was a humbling experience, because it taught you the value of a dollar and how to make money. I think it's very important that even if these kids are going to do YouTube, that they should at least be required to work a normal job at least once, at least not just once in a day, maybe for a month or something. At least have one job that you started off with and make income. You know, put your money in your account, get them a debit card, show them how to put the money into the debit card and how to keep the money, how to spend it, how to count the money, how to understand how money pays for things. Because these kids understand that they're living with their parents previously, and they don't understand how their parents pay bills and things they have to sacrifice so that they can have what they need. So if you go from that type of lifestyle of not understanding what your parents are doing to make sure that you have clothes on your back and food in the fridge, and then you go straight into YouTube, and let's be honest, some of these kids, they don't have a slow transition to success. We have kids that are blowing up on YouTube overnight, you know, doing outrageous challenges and stupid things and very sexual things that can probably deemed child pornography. Some of the things they're doing on YouTube is very pornographic, and they're blowing up on YouTube, and they're making thousands of dollars. Some of the most basic channels on YouTube are making over $10,000 a month. Think about that. To put almost $10,000, and I'm just using that as an example. Not everyone's making $10,000. Some are making well over that. Okay? To put that type of money into a child's hands, they're not going to respect money. They're not going to respect their parents' struggle. They're not going to respect life. They don't have any humility. A lot of these young kids are like demons walking around. They're like demonic entities. They lack any knowledge. They lack no knowledge. They lack no feeling. They lack no compassion. They just live for the day. Okay, they live for the dollar, and they live for the day. They live on social media. But I don't want to turn this into a ranting video, because we went to like 3 subjects. I always do this. Sorry, y'all. But again, I'm going to be uploading more videos, and just watch out You know, they are trying to push this mark of the beast system on us. They are trying to slowly move from the cash machines to the credit ones, to the Apple Pay ones, to digital payments. You won't even be using a credit card anymore. People are going to start putting these using their smartwatches, and then it's going to be from those smartwatches to the RFID chip. And these tech nerds are going to be the first people to accept this type of technology. That's all I want to bring to y'all, and I hope y'all stay blessed in the name of Jesus.